we on?
Oh, it is, but I'm gonna cut into it, because that's what I do. I like
What
to
do,
let
what do
it
you
run
call
for a
it when
little
you overwork your muscles? I've been using the word all along when I talk to other people about.
bit. Overworking your muscles.
Yeah, it's called. There's a word for it. It's like it suddenly left my mind.
Strain.
No, I can't remember what the word is. It would help if I remember the word. Like when I described what Patricia has done when she gardened and gardened and gardened.
Oh, okay. The repetitive injury.
Repetitive injury. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay.
That's the word I was looking for.
Repetitive injury. It's always a good word search.
Repetitive injury.
Oh.
I was being annoyed earlier because instead of just thinking about what I was talking, I was looking for the word and I couldn't find it.
Couldn't find the word. I hate when I can't find the word.
Me too.
Okay.
As long as we're not bifurcated, we'll be all right.
Yes. Yes. No more bifurcation.
No more.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marion, the not bifurcated inappropriate artist. I have done that to myself before in videos. If you saw my moonshade video, you saw that. So here I am today in our little yoga schoolroom, classroom place that we take our class in with Deborah. Hello, she's back. See, I didn't scare her away. We are talking today, or continuing our conversation today, about body work, different modalities. Last episode we talked about polarity, energy, healing. And today we're going to talk about myofascial release, which I struggle saying. MFR. Okay. MFR. So, you had stated you wanted to start out by telling us your story, and I agreed that that would be a fabulous place to start. So, tell me why.
Well, because I, some years back, I used to pay all my bills with sales, and I was always demonstrating something, and the work was long hours, 10, 12, 14-hour days, and whatever gizmo I had, like a little chopper, the Euro chopper, or a ball on a string that was good for something or other, I don't remember, but it was pitch sales, and it was long hours. But I also was quite fit. I worked out 3 times a week in the gym, and so occasionally I definitely had very painful arms, but it wasn't until the summer that I decided to do white water rafting on a boogie board. And my first time was a class 5 rapid. And I did that 6 times that summer. And by the end of that summer, the combination of the repetitive injury and that sudden extreme demand on my hands, we hung on by a rope. It was our own strength that kept us on the boogie board. There was nothing tying us to it. So me against a class 5. So I lost the use of my arms. Now when I say I lost the use of my arms, I had been starting to study drawing. I was going to something called Renaissance School of Art in Los Angeles, and you could just go and buy lessons and buy them in small packages, and I was drawing, and I was very much enjoying it, pencil, charcoal. And by the end of that summer, I could no longer pick up a pencil and hold it without excruciating pain. I couldn't even hold a cup of coffee to drink without tears rolling down my eyes. My arms and hands were completely trashed. At night, I couldn't sleep. I would take turns dangling them over the side of the bed, because if I dangled, the one that I dangled would have some relief, not no pain, enough relief to sleep, and then the other one would start to hurt so badly I would switch sides and dangle the other one. So that went on for some years, and the symptoms in my whole body increased. It went to where it wasn't just my arms anymore. I had pain in my body. I couldn't get out of bed and put my foot on the floor without feeling sharp knives going up the bottom of my feet. So I was progressively getting worse. Eventually I was given a diagnosis of fibromyalgia and told it was incurable, to live with it and start going to fibromyalgia meetings to learn how to divide my groceries up and leave the cans in the car for later and that sort of thing. So I did a lot of research and I did a lot of work. I got some improvements, but I still had the excruciating pain in my arms and in my feet. I did some things that were very helpful, and I could brought back a certain level of functionality, but not to where I considered I could rejoin and have a normal life. I would have to pay the cost. If I wanted to garden, I could garden. I needed to have recovery time, like weeks of recovery time. So I lived life like that, juggling what I could do, what I couldn't do, paying for what I really wanted by recovery time. So then I heard of John F. Barnes' myofascial release about 8 or 9 years ago. And that's where someone first told me about being in a concrete straitjacket, and I said, yeah, that's me. So I began getting myofascial release, and shortly after that, I went to one of John Barnes's introductory seminars that are for the client as well as for the practitioner. And I was here's John Barnes.
Ooh, awesome. Can we see that? Yeah, we can. Excellent.
And I was so impressed with him and his work that in enthusiasm I went up to him and I said, well, I'm not a therapist. Can I do your courses? He says, well, have you had any training? He usually had licensed massage therapists, occupational therapists, somebody with something. And I said, no, I'm a Reiki master. But my enthusiasm was such, he said, okay, tell Donna when you call. He actually named the registrar, that I said yes. So I called. Oh, but before the seminar was over, I went back up to him and I said, oh, but my arms. There's no point really. I can't use my arms, so even if I come to the seminar. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, there are absolutely no guarantees of anything, but come. And I did. And that, I don't remember if that was actually 8 or 9 years ago. It was some years back. Time flies, maybe, might have been as many as 10. But now I am a therapist and I use my arms for work. Ta-da! So it was very effective. The repetitive injury and the additional injury that I did with some near-death experiences on the river and hanging on for dear life to a raft. The river won a couple of times. So I overcame all of that. So that is what myofascial release can do.
All right, so now tell me what it is.
It is a number of techniques. It's body work. The person's on the table. The person receiving it is on the table. The person giving it is standing next to the table. And it's hands-on. There's no cream because you're using the skin as leverage. And the most basic myofascial technique is where you put pressure on the skin and you gently separate it out without moving, without sliding across the skin. So you sink your hands in to the level in which they sink easily. And at that level, you start to apply gentle, sustained pressure. John Barnes calls it piezoelectric pressure, and it melts blockages. Those blockages that we talked about, where the energy doesn't flow freely through your body. Blockages put there through injury, through repetitive use injury, through trauma, through surgery, through infection, through the various ways in which our body becomes injured and traumatized, and blocks occur. So this is applying pressure. He actually applies many techniques. I've taken all of his seminars but one, which I'm going to take this year. And so one of them is, though, the basic is just gentle, sustained pressure until you feel the release occurring. You feel the melting of the blocks with your hands, which comes in really handy with doing polarity, because when I'm doing the polarity holds, I can feel the releases with my hands because they were trained through all of those seminars with John Barnes to notice what a release is. And a release can be noticed in many ways. It can be noticed with a sense of softening, melting. It can be noticed with a sort of a tingling, buzzing, vibrating, heat, cold, various sensations, or just a sense of lightness occurring. And it's the energy starting, it's the stuck energy starting to flow. That's myofascial release.
And
the fascia.
Tell us what the fascia is, because
fascia,
otherwise people
the
are
fascia,
like, what?
Yes, the fascia is the connective tissue. It is one piece, head to toe. So when you start to unravel something up here, it's like pulling the thread on a sweater. It just unravels the whole thing. So you can feel unraveling anywhere, even though the therapist is putting that special myofascial touch. Up here, you start to unwind and unravel everywhere. But it is primarily targeted at the muscle bellies. It's not targeted at the sinews, tendons, ligaments, and joints. Although when you relieve the blockages in the muscle, the blood flows freely, the lymph flows freely, nutrition is brought to the cells, to the joints, to the ligaments. Toxins are removed through the lymph system, so it's an overall improvement when that happens. But that's where polarity comes in, because polarity doesn't stop at the muscles.
Yeah. So what a beautiful partnership those
It's a
two
beautiful,
make.
yeah.
And now I can tell you, many of you know I have struggled with Raynaud's and arthritis combined, which created for me a lot of pain. And I also had carpal tunnel. Have had whatever it is now at this point.
Flares up, acts up.
Flares, yeah, exactly. It's a whole repetitive injury as a picture framer for 25 years, and then I dragged groceries across the register for 3.5 years. So when I told Deborah, and here we are, we're going to do energy work, and I need the use of my hands, and there are certain sessions that I definitely need. I'm going to have to cut my thumbnails. I'm so sad. But I cut all the other ones. You know, I did it. I sacrificed them. I will sacrifice my thumbs by class this week. But anyway, so I needed the use of my hands. And as you know, I also play guitar. And I was looking to increase my ability to play guitar. And stopping doing the repetitive work definitely helped. Getting out of the cold definitely helped. However, it's still, I could play for longer, but not as long as I'd like. So my goal is to get to the point to be able to play for an entire gig, which means an hour and a half of playing guitar. Now, with a break in between, probably like 10, 15 minutes or something, but still, an hour and a half of playing guitar. And so she has done a couple of sessions on me already, and I can definitely tell you, and I used to go for massages regularly and all sorts of things like that to alleviate the pain that I was in. Because no painkillers, by the way, would alleviate that kind of pain. just doesn't.
No,
There's
I tried
no
everything.
Yeah, there's no such thing, and especially with Raynaud's, when you're going through the thaw, if you have Raynaud's, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody else, you're just not going to know, unless you've had frostbite. Then you know. But it hurts from the inside out, and it is this extreme pain, and you can't do anything else, and you're like, oh my God, and you don't know what to do because the pain is so intense. And the only thing you can think to do is like sit on your hands, you know, which oddly was a relief, but you know, I couldn't sit on my hands all day long. So when I got here and she did a few sessions, and we were just sitting on the couch the first time, and she just, well, you do it to me. She just took my arm like this, and I was just resting there, and I can tell you right now, like my fingers and hand are getting so much blood, it's ridiculous, and I can feel it. It's like this intense rush that finally is able to get through. Wow. And I've been practicing every day, so I don't know, I might have played for almost a half hour this afternoon. Right?
Yeah, it was close to a half hour.
Yeah. And my hands did not hurt when I stopped.
Right.
So and that's the other thing, is not to push it. So she does this, and it's, by the way, me speaking right now is kind of difficult, because what I want to do is fall on the floor and melt, because this is so amazing. I just got to tell you. But don't push it. So if you get this kind of work done, you find somebody in your area who can help you with myofascial release.
Preferably John Barnes. There are many different techniques out there, and they're all fine. I do have a bias in favor of John F. Barnes.
So, and is there a place where people can go to find
he
qualified?
he has a website with all of the John Barnes people listed, and he has 2 centers. He has one in Malvern, Pennsylvania, and one in Sedona, Arizona. You can go there too, and it's available. He's been doing this 50 years. He's trained 100,000 therapists.
Yeah, so this is available, and
Yeah,
I know that people put a lot of guilt into doing something like this for themselves, but understand that if it can truly increase your mobility in just everyday life,
It gave me a whole new life that I didn't expect, actually.
and I'm getting the use of my hands in a way that I've never had before.
Oh, and the other thing it does is the minute you reduce the blockages caused by trauma and injury, the strength starts to return without strengthening exercises. A certain amount of strength that you thought you had lost will just return. It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's also something to be aware of, because you think you can do more. Don't
all
slow
at
down.
once.
Slow
Don't do
down.
it all at once.
Yeah. Because I kind of went there, and I was like, woo, picking stuff up and flinging it with one hand, and then I realized, no. So, because you can re-injure yourself, I mean,
at least let it get really good. Let it get really better. And then you kind of know, like, I do 6-hour shifts where I work on 4 to 5 people in a row, and I can do that. I can do that 3 or 4 times a week with my arms the way they are. But I couldn't do a whole lot more than that. But compared to not being able to hold a cup of coffee, I really have no complaints.
Yeah.
I really have no complaints. No. No.
Well, I gotta tell you right now, my hand is so happy. And
see,
like,
if you'll show, my hands were together. I put my hands on her arm together, and then over time, with gentle sustained pressure and a slightly separating motion, my intention, I've moved my hands but I have not slid them across the skin.
Yeah.
That is fascia melting. That is fascia melting right there.
Yeah. So, and this is like, okay, so right now I can do this, by the way, which I never really was able to do before without shooting pains. Okay, I know, but I'm not selling this. This is not like a commercial or anything like that. I know, I'm sharing with you my experience. So when I left Connecticut with a certain number of goals, right? And one, to learn something new every day was really my only expectation. But part of this was also to relieve my body of the pain that I put it in through working myself almost to death. And I say that and people are like, oh, you exaggerate. But when you do physical labor for work your entire life, which is something I did.
Something I did as well.
You can break your body. It can happen. And I was so close to broken.
Do you know that couch potatoes have less problems like this than super athletes? Go figure, right? But it's true.
Right. And it's not to say go be a couch potato.
No.
But it is saying we don't need to, I believe I don't need to kill myself to make a living. I made that decision when I left, right? So following my art, the universe has sort of brought me here to this woman.
No, following her heart.
True. Following my heart. And so this is all a part of my journey, all a part of my healing. And part of emotional stress comes from physical stress. So if I can find a way to truly relieve the physical stress in my hands, this for me is going to be one of the greatest gifts, and it enables me to truly work in my gifts. So I am able to now start to look for, I'm starting to practice with other musicians where I'm actually putting together sets to go out and perform music, and start out with opening. So,
and
yeah.
I have something else to share that's so amazing. So I gave up drawing because I could no longer hold a pencil without excruciating pain. So Marion said last night, here's some paper, here's some paints, go paint. So I did. It didn't dawn on me that I could even, I've been so passionate about this work that's kind of become my life. But then yesterday it's like, yeah, I can hold a paintbrush. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do it.
And she does it very well, might I add. Telling you. So many beautiful talents. It's unbelievable. So many beautiful gifts. One of which is friendship.
Yeah.
And probably the most precious one. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our episode on myofascial release and how combining it with polarity can bring such incredible healing. And if you did not see the last episode, please go back and watch it, because yes, it will explain a lot. She does refer to it often in what she shared today. So go back, watch that one, watch this one again, watch them as often as you need to. I will put in the description below the John Barnes information so that y'all can find it easily and find a qualified therapist in your area.
The way to find John Barnes is he's made it so simple. Capital J, capital F, capital B, / capital M, capital F, capital R. You put that in the search, up he comes.
Awesome. Sweet. And I'm putting that on the screen then too. So there you go. We're all set.
We're all set.
Now I'm gonna arm wrestle.
That would be great. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the perfect ending to this?
Yes.
Is like, now we arm wrestle. But,
yes.
But she did just do this to my hand, and I want to give it a chance to rest. Because she did it, and it is nice, let me tell you. It's feeling so warm and beautiful, and my left hand right now is crying
jealous.
in jealousy.
It's jealous.
Like, it's all like, what? What? So, yeah. I may have to get her to do my other arm.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Take care. Like, subscribe, contribute to the journey if you'd like. Those links are also below in the description. And we will see you next time. Oh, and so there's going to be a little break in the series. Not sure what's going up next week, but then after that, we're going to come back and we are going to be talking about grounding, I believe. What is grounding? It's not a punishment. You're not in trouble. Grounding's good for you.
And also specifically grounding in the river as well.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Eventually I'm going to put this all together in a playlist for you, but for now, it's all coming to you as we make it happen. So, see you next time. Take care.